Hello and welcome to a new episode of GP का Cat Funda, and today we'll be discussing when should you take mocks and why should you take mocks, because ये एक बहुत ही बड़ा सवाल आता है मुझे हर बार from students every year that when do I start taking mocks. In fact, most of the questions will be like this कि कब शुरू करना चाहिए, ideally what is the right time to start taking the mocks. Second, syllabus complete करके करें या before that. Should I look at completing my syllabus, or do I look at taking mocks before that? Then the third thing is connected to it, best time to take mocks. Okay? And finally, how many mocks should I take and when? So if you look at the questions are similar. सब बच्चे मोटा मोटा सेम चीज पूछ रहे हैं, पेपर कब लेना है, how many of them to take. So when and how many are the two critical things which are always asked by students as far as this particular issue is concerned. Okay? So let's look at this issue and try to address the question which you have. पहली चीज, मॉक कैट क्या है, व्हाट इज द पर्पस, व्हाट इज अ मॉक कैट. टेल मी, इज इट एन एडमिशन टेस्ट, इज इट एन असेसमेंट टूल, और इज इट अ लर्निंग टूल. तीन चीजें हो सकती है ना. एडमिशन टेस्ट है, is it assessment, it is telling me where I stand today, what how am I compared to others. And third is, what is it a learning tool. First thing first, it is definitely not an admission test. कोई इंस्टीट्यूट आपको एडमिशन नहीं मिलेगा मॉक कैट के स्कोर पे. No one will give you admission to the institute on the basis of your score in mock cat. Mock cat percentile, no, it don't matter at all from the purpose of an admission. It is an assessment tool. Yes, it is. It tells you where you stand. Okay? Okay? It tells you where you stand to that extent. Where you stand at the current moment with the current level of preparation. तो आज की तारीख में जो आपकी प्रिपरेशन है और जो सिचुएशन है आपकी, उसको देखते हुए where are you today. It does not mean this is what you will be at the time of cut. No. It says today, at this point of time, given your preparation level, given your current situation, given the course coverage, etc., you have done, given the way you are taking the paper, this is where you stand. But most importantly, this is mockcat is a learning tool. It is a tool which is there for you to help you understand आप क्या ठीक कर रहे हो, to help you understand what is it that you are making not doing well, where are you goofing up. Those are the things which they will tell you, what will identify your flaws, and hence it will help you improve your performance. So most importantly, please remember, it is a learning tool. It is to some extent an assessment tool. It is definitely not an admission test. So these are the things which you need to remember. And when you're looking at this item called the mock cat, when should you take and how should you take, and is an issue that we will keep discussing till cat. So the first thing, as I said, is yaad rakho, learning tool hai, and if it's a learning tool, you have to take it throughout your preparation. So you don't take it after you have done your syllabus, then it becomes an assessment tool. After the syllabus is an assessment tool, during your preparation is a learning tool, and that differentiation is what I want you to remember. So how is it a learning tool? ठीक है ना. Learning tool के लिए दो चार चीजें हैं. One of the things which comes out is, yes, it will help you understand the CAT interface. It will familiarize you with what the interface is all about, structure कैसा दिखता है. Secondly, understand the exam pattern. But frankly speaking, these are very minor issues. Exam pattern, there are multiple ways of doing it. You don't need to take a mock cat for that. Okay. The exam interface, it is available. Screenshots would be available. You will be able to look at similar, let's say, interfaces. You may have taken exams in similar interfaces. So these are very minor issues. These are not the major items to be looking at. Okay. What is more important to understand is CAT as a paper you will not complete. Even English, many of you will not complete the section. And please remember, aptitude tests typically give you less time than required. Okay, less time than required to complete the paper. Okay, now given that is going to be the situation that you are not going to have sufficient time to complete the paper, and every question has equal marks, it becomes imperative that you learn the art of leaving questions. And why you need to learn the art of leaving question? Because in your school and college exams you have not been taught. There was never a situation in your school and college exams that time is sufficient to complete the paper. A 3-hour paper in school or college would mean the paper can be completed in 2 hours 45 minutes, 2 hours 50 minutes, worst case 3 hours. That is not the case here. So here you have to pick and choose the right questions to attempt, and you will choose the right questions to attempt only when you choose the right questions to leave. So leaving the right questions to attempt is a skill, it's an art which needs to be inculcated within you, and this will happen only when you start taking mock cats, otherwise nahi hoga. Okay. Next, it helps you assess your strengths and weaknesses. Okay, so it will tell you, okay, this particular area, para jumbles, I'm a little weak. Data sets or tournaments, I'm struggling. Or data sets which have calculation, even though I'm able to do it after the paper, during the paper, I struggle, so maybe I need to revise. In quantitative aptitude, geometry question, I'm miserably failing, and hence maybe I need to go back to my concepts and go through it again. Calculation based question, I'm doing fairly well, so I should be able to pick out what is pick out question of calculation and solve them. So it will tell you what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses, so that you can identify your weaknesses and improve upon them, and you can maximize on your strength during the paper and during your preparation. So it's an assessment tool. To that extent, it is assessing your current level of strengths and weaknesses so that you can improve on them. Third thing, connected to the same thing, to identify the speed and the time taken on each question. Okay? If you go to the Career Launcher website, time analysis, you get the amount of time you spent in each question. And if you see that you have taken 3 minutes 34 seconds for a question, while the toppers have typically taken 1 minute 24 seconds, let's say, that means you have a long way to go in being able to improve the speed in that kind of questions. That means you need to probably look at the method you are using. You probably need to revise it more. Maybe you need to look at the choices or some issues there which you need to identify so that you can work on it. So end of the day, when we're looking at this paper, speed and time is going to be there throughout, and hence it becomes important that throughout your preparation, you keep looking at how many questions, what speed are you working at, and so on and so forth. And finally, what strategy works for you? How will you find the strategy based on all these? Based on all these factors, all these things that I've written out here, you will try to find out what strategy works for you. Okay, so strategy is an outcome. Please remember, strategy does not come out of thin air. Strategy comes out from all these things. So when you're looking at each of them, you'll say, okay, this is what works for me. This is the way I should be doing. In let's say verbal, I should be doing RC first, or in verbal, I will go question 1 to 24 directly without worrying about it, or I'll do parajumbles first. Whatever that strategy of taking the paper, which kind of questions to attempt, which ones to leave, uh, how much time to spend, what is the time you can afford to spend in the paper in assessing the data sets, which are the question types you should be leaving, even if that topic is from your area of strength. So this strategy will come out only when you start taking the papers. Okay, now this means effectively it's saying यार तुम्हारा टेस्ट टेकिंग स्किल्स इंप्रूव करने का पर्पस है, मतलब कि हमारा we need to improve your test taking skills. Two things we will be talking about. First is we need to help you improve your test taking skills. And test taking skills, how do you improve? By analyzing your mock cat performance. A 2-hour paper, okay, will typically imply 4 to 5 hours of analysis of the paper. Okay. What do you need to do in analysis of the paper? Most importantly, yes, solve the question again, paper again. Most importantly, yes, check what scores have you got in each of the sections. But most important thing is, if I go section by section or question by question or passage by passage, which are the passages or questions or set where I wasted time? That's the first question to ask. In other words, which are the questions I should have attempted? Questions I should not have attempted, let's say. Should not have attempted. And which are the questions I missed? Easy question which I would know I would have got them right, but I missed in the paper. Why did I miss them? Why did I attempt these questions which are difficult or time consuming or gave me a -1? And why did I miss the question which were easy and जिसमें मेरे को पक्का सही number आने थे? So that is the task that you need to pick up for yourself, and this is what will define. We talk about speed. Speed is a function of not attempting difficult question. Speed is a function of attempting the easy question, because not only you will be able to do them fast, but also you'll get them right. So remember, speed is a function of choosing the right questions And which is why I've always maintained, as far as this paper is concerned, the art of choosing or art of leaving questions is extremely, extremely important. Speed is nothing but a function of choosing the right questions to attempt and choosing the right questions to leave. And yes, so if you look at this particular slide so far, मैं ये बोलूंगा भैया इसमें 4 वाय हैं. Can you answer each of them? If you can answer each of them, then you know you are on the right track. At least you know what are the issues, what is working for you, what is not working for you. And once you identify are able to answer this why, you will also know what is the way forward for yourself. Okay. So once you have identified these, then we start working on resolving these problem areas. I have a habit of attempting these kind of questions which are easy for me, but they are typically 5-6 minute questions. Maybe I need to get rid of this habit. In reading comprehension, I spend a lot of time over analyzing the choices. Maybe after reading the passage and coming to the question, I should not over analyze. I will go through the choices, immediately mark which makes sense to me and move on. Okay. I know I always get parajumbles right. Maybe I should put parajumbles to the end. Okay. Sorry, I get parajumbles right. Maybe I should do parajumbles right in the beginning. Someone could say the reverse. Parajumbles तो हमेशा गलत होते हैं. कोई बात नहीं, एंड में रखो, पहले बाकी करो. So the strategy or way you attempt the paper is a function of your answer to these questions. Okay? And secondly, it will also identify where are you deficient in terms of knowledge. कौन से topics नहीं आते? In quant, in DILR, which kind of data sets can't you handle? Which kind of questions in quant you are uncomfortable with? Is parajumble something you're able to find out, solve or not? What kind of passages do you struggle with? What kind of questions in RC do you struggle with? So the answer will identify, the answer to this will identify your knowledge deficiency and where you need to again go back to your concepts and brush it up. So conceptual knowledge improvement is extremely important, and the paper will also help you do that. Okay? So this is the purpose of the mock cat. I hope ये clarity आ गई है. Okay? अब अगर आपको mock cat है तो कब कितने लेने चाहिए? What are the mock cats? I would say भैया शुरुआती mock cat से होनी चाहिए है. Okay, you may not want to call it a mock cat, you may call it a diagnostic cat. Okay? Diagnostic cat. In CL we call it DCAT. Okay, the diagnostic cat is essential. It says this is a paper. What is the current level of preparation, or what is the current level of readiness for the paper? Let me say. Okay, what areas are you good at? So start with the paper, because ultimately there's by and large no syllabus of this for this paper. The only section says some kind of syllabus is quantitative aptitude. But उसमें भी ज़्यादातर चीजें तुम लोग पहले करके बैठे हो. So stage one is this. During preparation, again you start taking the paper regularly to fine-tune your test-taking strategy. Okay, during preparation, it is going to be fine-tuning your test-taking strategy. And remember, out of the 66 questions in CAT 2021, to get a 99.5 percentile, you needed to do something like 32 to 33 questions. Now, the strategy has to be such that it is in line with the requirement. Okay. Between 1 and 4 months before the exam, let's say till about October, if I'm looking at CAT, there's again at this point of time, the number of mocks that you take will go up. At this stage, it will be fewer. Okay, this is maybe a couple of papers, one paper or maximum 2 papers before. During your once you start your preparation, initial stages probably you'll do 1 to 2 per month. Okay, 1 to 2 per month. This is the stage where you'll probably come back to doing something like 4 per month. Okay, could be higher also, but 4 to 6 per month is what you could look at. And then this is the final stage. So last 4 to 8 weeks, I will say, is the stage where you have to do possibly 8 to 10 per month. Okay. So these are different stages, and the requirement also changes. This is where you are looking at your CAD readiness. This is where it becomes more of an assessment tool, though still remains a learning tool. But यहाँ पे it is more of assessment tool. यहाँ पे it is more of a learning tool. So the nature of the paper or the outcome that we are looking at is changes a bit as you progress with your preparation. Okay. So my suggestion would be this. To my mind, 25 बहुत होते हैं. Okay. So if I'm looking at 25 mocks, this is the way I would want to schedule it. Assuming you are starting your preparation now. To me, the critical part is these. Okay. Now, some of you may want to increase it. Let's say you want to do it 30. 30 would mean 10 here, 10 here. maybe 4 here, 6 here. That could be the breakup for 30. Okay, and the remaining 2 and 1 remain as it is. My suggestion is don't go beyond 35 mocks. Okay, don't go beyond 35 mocks. And when you're taking mocks, remember typically a mock will take you 2 hours. The analysis of the paper will take you at least 4 hours. So we are talking about at least a 6 hours time commitment. अगर 6 घंटे नहीं लगा सकते तो पेपर देने का कोई फायदा नहीं है. And if you are looking at 30 papers, the mean number, let's say 25 is or 30, you are looking at 150 to 180 hours. And this is essential. And look at this September, October, November period. At this 10 papers means 60 hours. What does 60 hours means? 60 hours means 2 hours per day. Okay. Or you will probably look at some other combination that weekend I'll do more weekend, but that's the kind of commitment which is required. So in terms of commitment, I'll say it is not a very, very heavy in terms of the time required, but it has to be done diligently. And when you take a paper today, you cannot analyze it 1 week later. उसी दिन करना है. ठीक है, उसी दिन करना है is what you need to be clear about. Okay. Where do you find your mocks in aspirationai.ai? Yeah, there's a screenshot. You can go through your the aspiration account and you can look at this part. The important thing again is view analysis. Take test is fine, but view analysis is important. Analysis will give you obviously the correct, incorrect answers. It will also give you your percentiles and scores and marks, etc. Everything, and it will also tell you in which question how much time did you spend. We also have a drill down analysis. What does a drill down analysis do? A drill down analysis will tell you on a topic wise basis. Drill down analysis on a topic basis. What is your strength? Which are the topics? Let's say arithmetic, or let's say percentage for SICI PLD. What is your level of preparation in that? How good are you in that area? So that's another feature there. Okay. From your point of view, the target scores for CAT 9091, CAT 91 क्यों बोला? हाँ, CAT 21. CAT 21 overall score versus percentile. Something that I want to remember, you to remember again. Please don't focus on percentile. Your focus should be on scores. Okay. Overall percentile, what does it mean? All of you know the meaning of percentile. It's a rank. And remember, percentile is not the cause. Percentile is the effect. Okay. Percentile is the effect. And if percentile is the effect, I should not be wasting too much time on percentile. Let me just, where's the, let me just clean this up. So I should be focusing more on my marks rather than the percentile is what I want you to remember. Okay. One important thing in this graph, which I have pointed out multiple times, up to 90 percentile, the fight is very, very simple. 90 to 95, it improves the level of difficulty or the level of effort will be required. After 95, it goes significantly, and after 99, again, look at this. So from your point of view, these are the stages. So even if you have 50 percentile today, remember 50 percentile out here is something like 25 marks, about 25 marks. So percentile, don't worry about it, focus on the marks. Just to look at this thing again, a 90 percentile last year was 59 marks or 20 questions. 20 questions were good enough, and that is what is important. Your starting stage has to be by saying, can I do about 10 questions? Can I do about 10 questions correctly? Okay, can I do about 10 questions correctly in each section to begin with? That's your thing. If 10 doesn't happen, you could do it a little lesser also, but don't worry about it. Focus on score in every section, in every mock. If you keep improving your score by 1 question, in each section, if you can improve your score by 1 section, you will go up by 10 marks. And 10 marks means, look at this. 10 marks would mean from 30 to 40. 30 to 40 would mean something like here to 65 to 75 percentile. 10 marks from let's say you had 70 marks and you reach 80 marks. That means from 92 to you have got to about 97. So please remember, your task is very simple. Every mock I have to improve by 1 question and not more than that. And these are the kind of benchmarks you could look at. Don't worry about the 99.9 percentile. Look at the 95 percentile. Because if you get a 95 percentile in each section, 95 percentile in each section. What does it mean? 95 percentile in English is 34 marks, which is 12 questions. 95 percentile in DILR is 8 questions. 95 percentile in QA is again 8 questions. 12 plus 8, 20, and 8, 28. 28 into 3, 84. If you get a 95 percentile in each section, you'll have about 84 marks, and 84 marks would mean something like, okay, 98, 99%, 98.5 percentile, let's say. Yeah, 84 would be here, say 97.5 percentile. Okay, so 80, so if you are 95 in each, you are 97.5. And again, look at this: 12, 8, 8. This is your first target. Not 10, 10, 10. It is 12 in English, 8 in DILR, 8 in Quant, 28 questions. Once you're there, every section test now, if you, or every mock now, if you can improve by one question each, तुम्हारा काम ठीक हो जाएगा. तो क्या करना है? पेपर लेना शुरू करो. Don't delay taking mocks. Start them immediately. Don't wait for the syllabus, because syllabus नाम की चीज कैट में नहीं होती है. Okay? So चलो, that's all from my side. पसंद आया तो भैया लाइक कर देना. And yes, do share and subscribe also, because if you are subscribed to my channel, so you regularly get inputs on how to prepare, what to do, at which stage. And yes, we'll meet again next week. So that's it from my side. Thank you. All the best.